and fumble it. You get the bag and fumble it.
You get the bag and fumble it. I get the bag and flip it and tumble it. Straight off the lot, 300 cash.
What is going on, my fellow zombie slayers? It is Nelly B here, and welcome back to a brand new video. Recently, I've been playing a lot of Black Ops 2 Zombies. It's a phenomenal game, and for someone like me, it instills a lot of nostalgia. I remember playing maps like Buried and Origins when they first dropped and instantly falling in love. Now, my opinions have obviously changed a lot since the game has released, but one thing hasn't really changed at all are my opinions on the wonder weapons in the game. Other than the nerf to the liquefier, no other changes have been made, making these weapons very consistent through the years. So I figured better late than never to make a video ranking my favorite wonder weapons from Black Ops 2 Zombies. A top 5, if you will. Oh, we're already getting into this? Oh, okay, alright. So coming in at my number 5 spot, I have the Staff of Wind. Now, I probably should have mentioned this in the intro, but here's a major trigger warning. I love having fun in zombies. It's not always about getting the high rounds or the most powerful weapon, even though those two ideas can overlap very easily, which is why I love the Wind Staff. Now, it's probably the weakest staff out of all of them, but it is still very fun in my opinion. I also should mention that this is an opinion-based list. You can get mad if you want. It doesn't really change the fact of my opinion. Using this weapon, you can see there is a clear inspiration from another very well-known wonder weapon. No, that's for another video. But with that aside, this weapon is perfectly fine for the way I play Origins. If you haven't seen any other Origins Easter egg streams on this channel, hit the bell button and stop by. But the way I play Origins, I like to spend a lot of time in the lower rounds, which the Wind Staff is perfect for. 1 to a whole horde of zombies in your way on round 15 in the mud, just blow them away with a single shot of the Wind Staff. It's that simple, and it's also one of the only staffs that instantly kill zombies. All of the other ones hold the zombies in place and then kill them after a second or so, which is very detrimental if you are in a situation similar to the one I mentioned earlier, in the mud with a bunch of zombies around you with or without a shield. You will have a hard time surviving without the Wind Staff. Now, it can be upgraded to the Boreas Fury, which adds a charge ability in which it creates a tornado-like effect similar to the Ice Staff's ability, killing all zombies that come into contact up to a certain round, which also insta-kills. Again, this ability isn't nearly as powerful as some of the others, but that's not why I enjoy it. I enjoy it because it's just so fun to use. It also helps that it's one of the easiest staffs to build and upgrade. That's enough fangirling for one video. I just really like the Wind Staff, and it would have been higher on this list, but sadly the damage drop-off occurs very, very early on. Moving on to my number 4 spot, I have the Paralyzer from Buried. The Paralyzer is a really unique weapon in the sense that it never runs out of ammo, and you can actually fly with it. Just point it at the ground, shoot, and jump, and you're off. I think this is what the jet gun from Transit always wanted to be, but they couldn't quite get it right, so they reworked almost every aspect of the weapon and made it much better. Now, infinite ammo might seem like a dead giveaway for this weapon to be at the number 1 spot, but if you've ever used this weapon, you'll know that it has a recharge time. In order to get the most out of this weapon, you will need to tap the trigger instead of holding it down. This allows the weapon to slightly recharge in between taps and turn, allowing you to use it for longer. Now, during a high round, it's much harder to keep this thing charged unless you have the perk Vulture, which is very, very useful on a map. Basically any map. I don't know why they haven't implemented it into any other map, but it works with the Paralyzer. Picking up ammo from the ground just recharges the weapon quicker, and also the zombie blood type effect from Vulture allows you to recharge the weapon without having to worry about any zombies hitting you. I'm not sure how far it can get you into rounds, but I do believe that still on round 60 it's a viable option just because of the infinite ammo and somewhat infinite damage. Like most of the staffs, the Paralyzer cannot kill any zombies instantly, even with insta-kill. The zombies will stop for a second and eventually die, but since you aren't ever really going to be training on Buried, it's not that big of a problem. The Paralyzer, a very unique and fun to use weapon, which is why it takes the number 4 spot. So coming into our number 3 spot, we have the Raygun Mark II. Yeah, I can already hear people going crazy. The Raygun Mark II is like the best weapon ever, and I can understand the fanboying behind it, but it doesn't do it for me. The Raygun Mark II isn't arguably the most powerful weapon on this list, and it's also very unique in the sense that it's a burst weapon, shooting 3 shots with 1 tap of the trigger, but can also be used as a fully automatic weapon by just holding down the trigger. Again, being one of the most powerful weapons on the list, sporting a damage of 2,300 per shot and a headshot multiplier of over 2, making the headshot damage 5,000. And that's just the regular raygun Mark II. Don't even get me started on the pack punch version. You're probably already wondering, why hasn't it made its way up higher on the list? And that's because it's too damn hard to get on almost any map. I believe the easiest map is Buried, and on that map you don't really need it because that map also has the paralyzer, which I just went over, and the PhD Flopper perma perk with the regular raygun or Mustang and Sally's is perfectly fine, especially with the paralyzer. Outside of Buried, the raygun Mark II is one of the hardest weapons to get out of any of the boxes, and on Transit I think it's like less than 1% chance of getting it, which is actually insane. I don't know why they did that. It's almost essential for high rounds on Transit unless you are really good with the jet gun, which, let's be honest, only about 3 people in the world are. Moving on to the number 2 spot, I have another staff. The Staff of Lightning, or should I say, Kimat's Bite. Just in general, the staff is one of my favorite wonder weapons of all time, fitting perfectly into Origins by not only being an amazing weapon for killing zombies, but also being the perfect panzer killing weapon. Kind of like the Akimbo Marshals dealing with the Thrasher on Zetsubo. It is also automatic, meaning if you hold down the trigger, it will shoot one shot after the other, but most use it as a semi-auto weapon, only tapping the trigger instead of holding it down. It's very effective and can do a lot of damage, but the radius of the effect is pretty small, so getting trapped in corners isn't as easy as escaping with this staff as it would be with, say, the Wind Staff. Now, while it doesn't deal as much damage as the Raygun Mark II, it still does a lot, with it being able to take out whole hordes similar to the Wonder Waff, but instead of a lightning bolt, it's a ball of lightning that will protrude lightning off of it onto any nearby zombie, doing an immense amount of damage over time, and eventually killing them up to about round 25, but after round 25 I would recommend using the regular shots for taking out zombies. It is also one of the easier staffs to upgrade in my opinion, a very powerful weapon that can surely hold its own. We only have one honorable mention in today's video, and that is going to be the Slickofire. For those of you who don't know, the Slickofire is a buildable weapon on Die Rise and is pretty easy to get right off the bat. Don't get me wrong, it's probably the best wonder weapon to go for high rounds, but some of its heavy hitting limitations are it's only really effective past round 50 on one spot on the map. Its slippery effect left by the ammo does affect you as well, and on a map like Die Rise with many opportunities to fall off, it doesn't really make it a viable weapon. This weapon was probably one of the best before it was nerfed, but we're talking about how the weapon performs today, not 5 years ago. And coming in at my number 1 spot as the best wonder weapon and possibly the best weapon in Black Ops 2 Zombies, in my opinion, we have the Blundergat. Now, I'm not going to separate the Blundergat from any of its variants simply because that's what makes it so great. Another plus is that you can easily acquire every variant of this weapon, including the Blundergat, the Acid Gat, the Sweeper, and the Vitrolic Withering, all in one game. You can also just as easily use both Blundergats at the same time on solo and even on multiplayer if you want to be that guy. Focusing on the upgraded variants, both the Sweeper and Vitrolic Withering have a decent amount of ammo and when used conservatively can easily get you to high rounds. Now, something I found very odd, which happens in the later rounds with both types of Blundergats, they end up making crawlers. Yes, even the Sweeper, a fully fledged, decked out shotgun, makes crawlers, which to me is just odd. Okay, it makes sense that a shotgun can blow off limbs, but in a game like Zombies, it's just weird to hit a zombie in the head or chest area and have them start crawling. Anyways, moving on to the Vitrolic Withering, which is the upgraded Acid Gat. It shoots green pellets or vials or whatever they are that attract zombies similar to the Monkey Bomb, just with more damage and less time. Both of these weapons are amazing because they can be used simultaneously, overall enhancing the experience of the amazing map that is Mob of the Dead. And just simply being able to wield a very, very powerful shotgun. Something like this before the Haymaker was introduced intrigued me so much because In my opinion, I love shotgun weapons in zombies. Being able to blow something out of your way with so much power is so intriguing to me, but not being so OP that I can take out hordes so quickly, which the Blundergat and Acid Gat can kind of do, but again, they're not so overpowered where they're just taking out hordes in one clip, which is 2 for the Sweeper and 3 for the Acid Gat or Vitrolic Withering. And that's going to conclude my top 5 list for my favorite wonder weapons in Call of Duty Black Ops 2 Zombies. I'm interested in how you guys feel about my list. Is it going to be similar to yours? And if not, what would you change? Feel free to tell me how autistic I am for not putting your favorite weapon on the list. And that's going to be it for the video, guys. If you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like. And if you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe, as well as hitting that bell button, streaming more, and obviously uploading more. Anyways, guys, peace.
I'm the definition of ill still. Time for you to recognize the real. Yo, I'm the definition of ill still. Time for you to recognize the real. I strategize plots to knock knots and hot spots in hell and earth through my snot box. Raps is G's, no more scrap.